In this chapter of the series we will know about the great Saint Lahari Mahashay. It is good for our health. It is a pleasure to know about Lahari Mahashay. Lahari Mahashay Shyama Charan Lahiri, the 30th of September 1828 to the 26th of September 1895, best known as Lahari Mahashay, was an Indian yogi guru who founded the Kriya Yoga school. In 1861, his non-physical master Mahavatar Babaji appeared to home, ordering him to revive the yogic science of Kriya Yoga to the public after centuries of its guarding by masters. He was unusual among Indian holy people in that he was a householder, marrying, raising a family, and working as a government accountant, an ideal yogi householder. He became known in the West through Paramahansa Yogananda, a disciple of Sri Yukteswar Giri, and through Yogananda's 1946 book Autobiography of a Yogi, considering him a Yogavatar, or incarnation of yoga, since Lahiri himself was chosen by the yogic masters to disseminate the principles of yoga to the world. Early life Lahiri was born into a Brahmin family in the Ghurni village, presently a neighborhood of Krishnanagar town, in Nadia district of Bengal province. He was the youngest son of Mukta Kashi, wife of Gaur Mohan Lahiri. His mother died when he was a child. There is very little known about her, except that she was a devotee of Lord Shiva. At the age of 3 or 4, he was often seen sitting in meditation, with his body buried in the sand up to his neck. When Lahiri was 5, the family's ancestral home was lost in a flood, so the family moved to Varanasi, where he would spend most of his life. As a child, he studied Urdu and Hindi, gradually moving on to Bengali, Sanskrit, Persian, French and English at the Government Sanskrit College, along with study of the Vedas. Reciting the Vedas, bathing in the Gangas, and worship were part of his daily routine. In 1846, he was married to Sramati Kashi Moni. They had 2 sons, Tinkuri and Dukuri, and 3 daughters, Harimoti, Harikamini and Harimohini. His 2 sons were considered saints. Lahiri's wife became his disciple and was affectionately called by Guru Ma. His work as an accountant in the military engineering department of the Indian government took him all over India. After the death of his father, he took on the role of supporting the entire family in Varanasi. Teacher of Kriya Yoga in 1861, Lahiri was transferred to Ranikhet, in the foothills of the Himalayas. One day, while walking in the hills of Dunagiri, he heard a voice calling to him. After climbing further, he met his guru Mahavatar Babaji, who initiated him into the techniques of Kriya Yoga. Babaji told Lahiri that the rest of his life was to be given to spreading the Kriya message. Soon after, Lahari Mahashay returned to Varanasi, where he began initiating sincere seekers into the path of Kriya Yoga. Over time, more and more people flocked to receive the teachings of Kriya from Lahiri. To note his high spiritual state, his followers called him Mahashay, which is a Sanskrit spiritual title translated as large-minded. He was also popularly known as Yogiraj and Kashi Baba by his followers. He organized many study groups and gave regular discourses on the Bhagavad Gita at his Gita assemblies. He freely gave Kriya initiation to those of every faith, including Hindus, Muslims, and Christians, at a time when caste bigotry was very strong. He encouraged his students to adhere to the tenets of their own faith, adding the Kriya techniques to what they already were practicing. He continued his dual role of accountant and supporter to his family, and a teacher of Kriya Yoga, until 1886, when he was able to retire on a pension. More and more visitors came to see him at this time. He rarely left his sitting room, available to all who sought his darshan. He often exhibited the breathless state of superconscious samadhi. Over the years he gave initiation to gardeners, postmen, kings, Maharajas, sannyasas, householders, people considered to be lower caste, Christians, and Muslims. At that time, it was unusual for a strict Brahmin to associate so closely with people from all castes. Some of his notable disciples included Panchanan Bhattacharya, Swami Sri Yukteswar Giri, Swami Pranabhananda, Swami Keshavananda Brahmachari, Bhupendranath Sanyal and the parents of Paramahansa Yogananda. Others who received initiation into Kriya Yoga from Lahiri included Bhaskarananda Saraswati of Banaras, Balananda Brahmachari of Deoghar, Maharaja Ishwari Narayan Sinha Bahadur of Banaras and his son. Biographer and Yogacharya Dr. Ashok Kumar Chatterjee, in his book, Purana Purusha, depicts that Lahiri initiated Sai Baba of Shirdi into Kriya Yoga, based on a passage in Lahiri's 26 Secret Diary. He gave permission to one disciple, Panchanan Bhattacharya, to start an institution in Kolkata to spread the teachings of Kriya Yoga. The Arya Mission Institution published commentaries by Lahiri on the Bhagavad Gita, along with other spiritual books, including a Bengali translation of the Gita. Lahiri himself had printed thousands of small books with excerpted passages from the Gita, in Bengali and Hindi, and distributed them for free, an unusual idea at that time. In 1895, he began gathering his disciples, letting some of them know that he would soon be leaving the body. Moments before his passing, he said simply, "I am going home. Be comforted, I shall rise again." He then turned his body around 3 times, faced north, and consciously left his body, entering Mahasamadhi. Lahari Mahashay died on the 26th of September 1895, 4 days before turning 67. He was cremated according to Hindu Brahmin rites at Manikarnika Ghat in Varanasi. Teachings of Kriya Yoga. The central spiritual practice which he taught to his disciples was Kriya Yoga, a series of inner pranayama practices that quickly hasten the spiritual growth of the practitioner. He taught this technique to all sincere seekers, regardless of their religious background. In response to many types of problems that disciples would bring him, his advice would be the same, to practice more Kriya Yoga. Regarding Kriya Yoga, he said, "Always remember that you belong to no one, and no one belongs to you. Reflect that someday you will suddenly have to leave everything in this world, so make the acquaintanceship of God now. Prepare yourself for the coming astral journey of death by daily riding in the balloon of God perception. Through delusion you are perceiving yourself as a bundle of flesh and bones, which at best is a nest of troubles. Meditate unceasingly, that you may quickly behold yourself as the infinite essence, free from every form of misery. Cease being a prisoner of the body, using the secret key of Kriya, learn to escape into spirit." He taught that Kriya practice would give the yogi direct experience of truth, unlike mere theoretical discussion of the scriptures, and to solve all your problems through meditation. Exchange unprofitable religious speculations for actual God contact. Clear your mind of dogmatic theological debris, let in the fresh, healing waters of direct perception. Attune yourself to the active inner guidance. The divine voice has the answer to every dilemma of life. Though man's ingenuity for getting himself into trouble appears to be endless, the infinite Sakar is no less resourceful. Guru-disciple relationship. Lahiri often spoke of the guru-disciple relationship in the context of Kriya Yoga. He always gave the Kriya technique as an initiation, and taught that the technique was only properly learned as part of the guru-disciple relationship. Frequently he referred to the realization that comes through practicing Kriya as taught by the Guru, and the grace that comes through the transmission of the Guru. He also taught that the grace of the Guru comes automatically if his instructions are followed. He suggested contacting the Guru during meditation, counseling that it wasn't always necessary to see his physical form. Regarding the necessity of the help of a Guru to deep yoga practice, he said, "It is absolutely necessary for all devotees to totally surrender to their Guru. The more one can surrender to the Guru, the more he can ascertain the subtlest of the subtle techniques of yoga from his guru. Without surrender, nothing can be derived from the guru. The relationship Lahiri Mahashay had with his own disciples was very individual. He even varied the way he taught the Kriya Yoga practice to each disciple, depending on their individual spiritual needs. Other teachings Lahiri taught that if one is earning an honest living and practicing honesty, then there was no need to alter one's external life in any significant way in order to become aware of God's presence. If a student neglected his worldly duties, he would correct him. It was extremely rare for him to advise sannyas or complete worldly renunciation by becoming a swami. Instead, he advised marriage for most of his disciples along with Kriya Yoga practice. He generally eschewed organized religion, but he allowed at least one advanced disciple, Panchanan Bhattacharya, to open the Arya Mission Institution in Kolkata to spread Kriya teachings. Other disciples of Lahiri also started organizations to spread the Kriya Yoga message, including Yukteswar Giri with his Satsang Sabha. Generally, he preferred Kriya to spread naturally. Lahiri frequently taught the Bhagavad Gita. His regular Gita assemblies, called Gita Sabha, attracted many disciples. He asked several of his close disciples to write interpretations of the Gita by tuning in to his own realization. Lahiri taught that the battle of Kurukshetra was really an inner psychological battle, and that the different characters in the battle were actually psychological traits within the struggling yogi. This understanding would later become the foundation of Paramahansa Yogananda's commentaries on the Bhagavad Gita, God Talks with Arjuna, the Bhagavad Gita. He also taught that the epic story of the Mahabharata showed the soul's descent into matter, and its challenges in retracing its way back to spirit. The lineage of Kriya Yoga organizations, the Lineage of Self-Realization Fellowship, SRF, Yogoda Satsang Society of India, YSS, founded by Paramahansa Yogananda includes Jesus Christ, Bhagavan Krishna, Mahavatar Babaji, Lahiri Mahashay, Sri Yukteswar Giri and Paramahansa Yogananda. According to SRF, Yogananda stated, before his passing, that it was God's wish that he be the last in the SRF line of gurus. When questioned about the succession of SRF, YSS leadership, Yogananda answered, there will always be at the head of this organization men and women of realization. They are already known to God and the gurus. They shall serve as my spiritual successor and representative in all spiritual and organizational matters. According to the Kriya Yoga Institute, their lineage includes Mahavatar Babaji, Lahiri Mahashay, Sri Yukteswar Giri, Srimat Bhupendranath Sanyal Mahashaya, Paramahansa Yogananda, Satyananda Giri, Hariharananda Giri.
Dear audiences, we want your support to grow our channel. Without your kind support we are nothing. Please do like, subscribe, share and comment. Thanks a lot.